Who it is? It's your boy, that guy, man. We got 6 true scary Halloween. If you don't know, I'm on the 31st day. You know what I'm saying? I'm on Halloween, all right? We got 6 true scary Halloween horror stories. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to comment, man. Push my shit out to the algorithm. Comment, subscribe, share. Even if you just want to view, you know what I'm saying? Anything, everything helps, man. Let's just get right into the video.
Last Halloween, my best friend Lucas and I went trick-or-treating with our mutual friend Michael. We were in Michael's neighborhood because his family was rich and lived in a wealthy neighborhood with big fancy houses. It was awesome for about half an hour, as every single house was giving out king-size pieces of candy. But then a huge storm rolled in and cut the night short. We ran back to Michael's house.
Boy, y'all built like the Crimson Chin, except for no chin over here. We got Dream. Look at that boy.
House to take shelter. Michael's parents weren't
Crazy.
home, and they weren't coming back soon either, because that storm was crazy. The wind was howling and the windows were being battered by heavy rain. There was a flash of lightning and a loud...
Boy, you ugly as hell. I'm sorry to say this, bruh. I usually don't perceive people, especially, like, come on, man.
thunder every few seconds.
You gotta do better.
It was nice for a while.
Do a skincare
But as it
routine.
raged on, it got annoying. So we went to the quietest part of the house. Michael's parents had a small private movie theater, so we put on something scary. There were no windows and the walls were soundproofed, but we could still hear the storm quietly howling and thundering in the background. About 20 minutes into the movie, Michael got up and paused the projector. He said he changed his mind about it because it wasn't scary. Then he went to grab something better. He came back with a Ouija board, bragging about how it was a centuries-old family heirloom and not just a Hasbro game. Lucas and I didn't believe him, of course, even though the board did look old. It looked like it was cut against the grain from a single log, as the rings of the tree were all visible. According to Michael, the planchette was carved from the same tree, and the lens was made of crystal, not just glass. We were interested in messing with it, so we sat down on the floor of the theater, underneath the projector screen.
What, bro? What's wrong with a movie, bro? What's wrong with a movie night? It's not scary enough. Why we gotta be scared, bro? Why can't we just chill?
The lights were at their dimmest level, and the storm could still be heard thrashing the walls of the house. It seemed like the perfect environment to communicate with ghosts, being sealed off from the outside world. The three of us each put our hands on the planchette, and Michael was the first to ask if there were any spirits with us. Then, the planchette began to move. It was so slow it was almost unnoticeable. The lens traveled to the top left corner of the board. To yes. We all giggled, each of us assuming somebody was moving it on purpose.
Dude, y'all look like the evil spirits, bro. I'm not gonna hold you.
Next, Michael asked the spirit to prove they were real in some way. The planchette
So giving confirmation wasn't enough?
moved again, much faster than the first time, down to the
Three?
number 3. Michael laughed, mocking the spirit, saying that it was true there were 3 of us, but that didn't prove anything. Then, the planchette slid to the number 2, held there for a moment, then slid to the number 1.
The nature of our enemy.
Oh, that shit was a countdown.
What do you want us to do about it?
A second
That
later,
shit was a
the
countdown.
projector suddenly started playing the movie again. We all jumped and took our hands away from the board. I accused Michael of secretly using the remote, but he pointed to where he had been sitting and the remote was on the armrest. All 3 of us were freaked out, but Michael looked the most scared. He kept mumbling that something was in his house while we stared at the projector screen, dumbfounded that the movie was playing on its own. As we watched, a shadow slowly began to obscure the projection, emerging from the bottom and rising to the middle and looming over us. It was the shape of a head, as if someone was standing in front of the projector. We all turned around at the same time and looked up to the top of the theater, but nobody was there. Suddenly, Michael lost it. He marched up to the projector and ripped out the power cord. Then he came back down, took the Ouija board and the planchette, then stormed out of the theater. Lucas and I followed him to the front door where he walked out in the pouring rain. We watched from the shelter of the porch as he threw the board in the garbage bin by the curb.
That's your garbage bin? Dog, that is a inside trash can. That is not no garbage bin. What is that?
We watched from the shelter of the porch as he threw the board in the garbage bin.
And it has a trash lining. That's insane.
By the curb. He came back soaking wet, blowing past us into the house. We didn't follow him as he went to his bedroom to change, cursing up a storm in a mix of anger and fear. Lucas and I retreated to the game room, where I absent-mindedly racked up the billiard balls to distract ourselves with a game. We never ended up.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. You don't ever use your vocab words of the week on me, bro. Billiard balls? Pool balls, bro. Don't ever use those vocab words of the week on me, bro. We're not doing that. Try it on somebody else.
Taking any shots. Michael returned from his room and joined us a minute later or so, starting to calm down. We were all deeply concerned, but we didn't know what to say. In the silence between
got anger issues.
We all noticed something at the same time. The game room is where the only entrance to the theater was, and the door was wide open. There was noise coming from inside, and we all recognized it. The movie was playing again. Together, we slowly made our way into the darkness of the theater, walking down the small hall beside the seats. At the end of the path, we turned the corner.
You heard the noise inside the movie theater, so you went inside the movie theater to hide. Hey, bro, 100 IQ. I couldn't think of that.
And there,
I would never think of that.
sitting in the first seat in front of us, was an old woman in a nightgown.
I was always an old woman.
With water still dripping from her hair, she turned her head and looked at us, smiling with an ancient, sagging face.
That's a smile?
We all ran out of the theater screaming. Michael shut the door and barricaded it with the foosball table. We went around the house together and turned on every single light. Then Michael's parents got home. We told them there was someone in the theater.
I ain't gonna lie, child, that got
They
me.
went to
I was
investigate,
a little spooked.
but nobody was there anymore. However, the seat she was sitting in was still damp. That wasn't enough proof for Michael's parents, and they scolded him
not at
for
all.
throwing out the Ouija board. But when his dad went out to get it from the garbage, it was gone. He went looking for it and found it back in the game closet where it belonged. Michael's parents thought we were messing with them, but we know we saw something that night. We don't tell people about it because we don't want to sound crazy. But since then, Michael says he hasn't stepped foot in the theater, as he believes it's now haunted by the spirit of his great-great-great-grandmother.
Yo, we blood. Why you haunting me? And how would you conclude that was your great-great-great-great-grandmother?
The original owner of the Ouija board. And the
I ain't gonna lie,
person
that
we saw
got
in
me
the
again,
theater that
Chad.
night.
Have you seen this? Kansans vote to protect reproductive freedom, and extremist Republicans ignore it. Kansans.
Yawn.
My name is August. In my first year of college, I hit a huge stroke of luck when a girl I just met invited me to a Halloween party at her house that night. I didn't know many people at the time.
Yo, all of you look undead and just scary, bro.
So I ran
Look like
and forced
serial
myself
killers,
to
bro.
talk to her one day,
Why are your eyes bloodshot? Why is your skin gray?
and it worked. Her name was Emily. She lived in a house with 3 other girls that was a
Your
short
hair
walk
is
from my
so
dorm.
dull.
I didn't have a costume, so after
Well, you can guard yourself. You scary as it is, boy. They think you preparing for Halloween all 364 days of the year.
I rode my bike down the road and bought a Bigfoot suit. I got home and changed. Then I started walking to Emily's house. I didn't want to ride my bike there because I was worried about the fake fur of the costume getting caught in the chain. Plus, I was a little worried about it getting stolen. On the way there, I saw a ton of people out on the street. A lot of them were wearing costumes, too. My peripheral vision was blocked by the mask, but I heard a few people point me out to their friends and laugh. I didn't mind. I actually kind of liked it. I must have looked quite funny sauntering through the streets alone like a real-life Bigfoot. I had a mask on, so nobody knew who I was, which made me feel a little more confident. About halfway there, I was approached by a man who was much older than your average college student, and he appeared to be homeless.
Well,
He had a
go
tattered
around.
brown jacket on and a large backpack stuffed to its breaking point. I expected him to ask for money, but then he introduced himself as Jason.
Oh, hell nah, bro. I don't talk to nobody with green lips, bro. I'll keep it pushing.
I told him my name just to be nice.
You see how many cracks is in his lips, bro?
But that opened up a
Oh,
conversation.
hell no. I don't talk to nobody with their lips the same color as their teeth. I gotta go.
He wanted to know where I was going. I was vague about
Nowhere where you're at, buddy. I'll
said
keep
that
it
I was
pushing.
just going to a party. But the guy kept pressing me
Keep
for
it
information
pushing, for
about my
real.
night. Like where the party was at and if there were going to be girls there.
Ain't no concern for you, bro. You better go wherever you came from,
Gave
bro.
him no information, hoping to end the conversation as quickly as possible. I eventually just got fed up and tried walking past him. But he grabbed my shoulder and laughed, saying we should just go together as friends.
No,
I told him to leave
we
me
ain't even cool like that, bro.
alone at that point. Then I walked off quickly. I didn't want some dirty hobo at my first college party. By the
I
time
want some dirty hobo anywhere near me, bro. What are you talking
arrived at
about?
Emily's house,
College party
I'd gotten
outing?
sick of marinating in the moisture.
God
of my
forbid
own
I'm
breath,
going home,
so I
like, bro.
ditched the mask. One of Emily's roommates answered the door. They let me in after I said Emily invited me. The party was still coming together, so only a few other people were there. I felt a little awkward. I didn't know any of these people besides a 10-minute conversation with Emily. Thankfully, everyone was really nice, and after a little while, I felt very welcome. I talked with Emily mostly, which was nice. At some point, she asked if I invited anyone else.
No.
I didn't want to reveal that I had no friends, so I just said I invited a friend, but they couldn't make it.
What is you not inviting anyone else mean you have no friends, bruh? See, if that dirty hobo pull up, then I don't even know.
Then I changed the subject. Later on, more people arrived, and the party kicked off for real. It wasn't a big party by general
Put your
college
hands in the air
standards,
like you
but it
just don't
felt
care
massive
looking
to
at
me.
a party.
I got tipsy to cope with how overwhelming it
Raise
all
the
felt,
roof looking at a
joining
party.
in with everyone else. Everyone was in a costume, making it feel even more surreal. I floated around for a while.
I can already see your dirty mouth from a mile away, bro. Please leave the vicinity. Leave the party, bro.
Trying to make new friends. It
You
was
don't think I see your black ass lips? You the only here person with some dirty ass lips, bro.
But while I was talking to someone,
Looking
I
like
saw
you
something
huffing a
over their
chimney,
shoulder
bro.
That freaked me out. There was a person walking by in a full Jason Voorhees costume. The name of the hobo I talked to instantly popped into my head. Jason. I lost track of the conversation, thinking it couldn't actually be him, until the person I was talking to got my attention again. I apologized for zoning out, and I forgot about it as we kept talking. A while later, I was talking with Emily again. She mentioned that my friend had actually just made it to the party.
No, bro. That is not my friend, bro. This is where you tell the truth.
I was confused, so I
The
asked her
truth
to
will set you
explain.
free.
She said she heard from the roommate that opened the door for me that they let someone in who gave them my name. I panicked. I looked around the entire house, but I couldn't find him. Just as I started to calm down, a girl screamed from one of the bedrooms. Everyone stopped their conversations. The music paused, and a crowd of people descended upon the door. But it was locked. Nobody could get through.
Break
A
it
man
down.
was also shouting inside aggressively, leading us to assume the worst. Suddenly, the biggest guy at the party kicked in the door. Everyone was ready to swarm and subdue an assaulter, but there was a pause when we saw the reality. There was costume pieces all over the floor, and a woman was covering herself with sheets on the bed as a stark naked man stood with his back to her. He faced the person in the Jason Voorhees costume who was threatening them with a large knife. The next moment was a blur of bodies. Several men rushed in and tackled the attacker, subduing and disarming him. The mask was ripped off, and I saw the face of the man I talked to on the street, Jason. The worst part is what he screamed as he was held down.
You told me I could kill him, August! You told me I could kill him, August!
I don't know that, bro.
That's what he kept saying directly to me before the cops came.
Bro, I'll stomp your little stupid ass out. What the fuck? You ain't gonna be yelling all that shit. Like, get your dirty ass lips around my name, bro. Like, for real.
My world burned before my eyes.
Oh, you pussy for real. I ain't gonna lie.
All the people I became friends with now looked at me like a snake.
A snake? I don't know this homie. I don't know how he guessed my name. I've never met this man in my life. Dead ass. He must have overheard me say my name or some shit. Man, I'll stomp that bro out. The fuck are you talking about?
A monster.
Get your crusty ass lips
After
off my
using
name, bro.
to get in, Jason snuck into one of the girls' closets. That girl ended up taking a guy into her bedroom to sleep with him, only for Jason to attack them. If he had surprised her while she was alone, who knows what might have...
Who am I voting for? Are you still here? Because, I don't vote. Chat, I'm gonna let you know something real quick, bro. I do not vote. I do not vote. But if I were to vote, the person I would vote for is Mohammed VI of Morocco or Emperor of Japan. Either one of those two.
He must have followed me to the house. Then
No,
got
duh,
in
he
a costume
followed you to the
live out
house.
his twisted murder fantasy. He went to jail. But unfortunately, despite proof that I had nothing to do with Jason's actions, none of the people at the party ever trusted me enough after that night to accept me being...
I wouldn't trust you either, bro. You out here, first of all, you lying that you say. I would have simply said, I don't know nobody here. I'm new, bro. That's all.
around them.
You don't got no friends. The fuck? I do not vote.
I never understood the hype about Halloween. I think dressing up in
Oh, this is better
costumes
animation. Way
and
better.
I don't find candy to be appealing. I stopped trick-or-treating when I was about 8. 1 year, in my sophomore year. I thought I was getting a slightly nicer Halloween, as my parents were going to a Halloween party with my mom's coworkers. They said they would be out late, and gave me 5 bags of candy to give out. Of course, I didn't plan on giving out candy. As soon as they left, I got the salad bowl and taped a note to it that said "Ring doorbell if empty." That way it would appear like I had been giving it out, but I figured I'd only have to go outside 3 or 4 times. With that taken care of, I took my Xbox out of my room and set it up on the living room TV. Then I played the night away doing
The
squat.
fuck? Think I'm saying ring doorbell if empty? Dude, I'm pouring all the candy I got into one bowl and then putting it outside, bro.
It's unfortunate.
And then I'm leaving a note saying take whatever, bro.
Friends. Every couple rounds, the doorbell rang.
I'm not doing
Then
this
at the
shit,
end of the
bro.
game, I'd step out for a moment to refill the bowl.
I'm definitely
The
not
system
doing
worked
this shit, bro. I'm not doing the refill bullshit. No,
perfectly.
I'm dumping
By
everything
midnight,
out on the
everything
floor.
quieted down,
Like,
so I
if you want
switched
the
off
candy,
the
pick it
porch
up,
light.
bro.
Only partiers would still be out, not trick-or-treaters. And I knew my parents wouldn't be home for another hour, so I played
Well.
on. Then, the doorbell rang again.
I'm not
I
answering the
wondered why there
door.
would be anyone out still trick-or-treating and why they would try a house with no porch light. I figured they would give up and leave, so
Yeah,
I
they can
ignored
give
them.
up.
When the round was over, I remembered that the doorbell had rang, so I got up and opened the door.
What is your house layout, bro?
I was surprised to see that it wasn't children on the front porch, but 3 grown adults wearing creepy clown masks. The one in the middle
You want
said,
candy, bro?
"Trick or treat," in a sinister voice. I almost stepped back to get the last bag of candy, but then I saw there was still a couple of handfuls in the bowl. I pointed this out, and they responded by saying that that wasn't what they were looking for.
What you
When I
looking
asked
for?
what they wanted, they said they either wanted my dad, the trick, or my mom, the treat. I was confused and stupidly blurted out that they weren't home. I immediately knew I had made a huge mistake, which was confirmed when the same clown said to the other clowns that I was all alone. I panicked, slamming the door shut and locking it. My mind started to race, trying to figure out what just happened and what I should do. I had revealed to all 3 of them that I was home alone, at just 15 years old. Plus, the living room curtains were wide open, and I didn't know
so?
if all the windows were locked. They must have been watching me at least since they rang the doorbell. Or maybe they were watching me all night, learning my routine. I held
Learning
back
your
on calling.
routine in 24 hours is absolutely insane. What routine could they have learned?
The cops just then, though. However, I told my friends I had to go. I closed the curtains and took my Xbox back to my bedroom.
Hold on, what?
I held back on calling the cops
Yo, if you held back on calling the cops, hey, whatever happens, happens at this
just
point.
then, though. However, I told my friends I had to go. I closed the curtains
Oh,
and
you
took
had
my
to go.
Xbox back
I'm
to my
surprised
bedroom.
you stopped playing video games.
I couldn't be distracted by it. I only had about an hour to go before my parents got home, but they could be back at any moment. I sat up in the living room with the TV on low volume for a few minutes. I couldn't tell if I was hearing things or not.
Dude, you might as well
But I
put that
kept
shit on
hearing
full
what I thought
volume.
were footsteps around the outside of the house. Things were tense for a while, but I eventually heard a car pulling into the driveway and saw headlights through the curtains. Finally, my parents were home.
No,
and I
that's
was
not your
safe.
parents, bro.
So I slipped into my bedroom and went to bed, making it look like I had gone to sleep on time. After a long night of gaming, I was pretty tired and dozed off quickly. I was half asleep when I heard footsteps coming down the hallway. I figured it was my mom or dad coming to check on me, so I didn't worry. The door clicked and opened, but instead of closing after a few seconds, it opened even wider. I saw the silhouette of a grown adult in the doorway, but there was something off about their head. I mumbled hello to no response. Concerned, I rolled over and grabbed my phone, then shined a light at the door. I then screamed as I saw a man with a clown mask in my bedroom. They stared at me as the other two terrifying clowns walked up behind him. I screamed at them to leave me alone, but they didn't leave. Then, the faint sound of another car pulling into the driveway alerted them. I thought they would start to flee, but then the man in the middle said to me, "It looks like your parents are home. Your mom is a treat, isn't she?" After he said this, the other two walked away and he walked toward me. I jumped out of bed and went to my window to try to escape through it, but the man grabbed me. I kicked and clawed at him and managed to rip off his mask. He was startled for a moment when his face was exposed, giving me just enough time to pull up the window and jump out. I ran around the side of the house to my parents' car just as they were parking and started banging on the door. My mom opened the door for me to jump in. I begged them to leave, telling them there are intruders in the house.
You begged them to leave? Alright, All Might. Alright, Naruto. Get out of here right now! Mom, Dad, they're intruders! Get out of here!
My dad reversed out the driveway and sped down the road. My mom called the police as we circled the block for a while, never
Hey,
taking the risk
bro.
of stopping. When police arrived, the clowns were gone.
Oh, no shit.
Apparently, they had picked the lock to the back door after I went to bed thinking it was my parents that
How
pulled
in the
trigger.
world did they pick... This door doesn't even have a lock. How in the world did they pick this? It's like a knob door. How in the world did they pick this? There was nothing to pick.
Driveway. Luckily, my parents arrived just in time. It's a miracle I managed to escape and warn them before they had to face those men. I don't want to think about what terrible things they had in mind. Since that night, we haven't heard anything from the intruders again. We still live in the house, but we take more precautions now, especially
Like
when
what?
answering the door for strangers.
Oh, like being smart, calling the police when people are trying to break into your house.
This experience has given me even more hatred for Halloween.
Hatred for Halloween? Be hated. Hate your damn stupidity, bro. Hate yourself.
Halloween was my favorite holiday. For a
Halloween
very
didn't do
long time.
shit.
I always had a thing for eating too many sweets. But I've been trying to be healthier because of what happened to me when I went trick-or-treating last year.
I think this is the best
I was
animation so
16,
far.
watching over my little cousin Carlos, who was 11. Carlos lived about a mile away. His parents didn't want him trick-or-treating alone in his own neighborhood, as it was more dangerous, so they dropped him off with me. We walked all over my neighborhood and were on the outskirts of Carlos's neighborhood. Carlos and I spent 2 hours trick-or-treating. I wanted to hit one last house before
What
taking
is he even
Carlos
dressed
home.
as?
We
I don't
walked
even know
up
what
to
that
the porch
is.
and knocked, but instead of the door opening, the porch light turned off. There were no
Okay.
lights on inside the house.
So it's time to
And
leave.
now with that one exterior light gone too, I realized the street was a little too dark for comfort. I took it as a sign to go home. But as I was about to turn around, the door swung open and a man in a Scream costume appeared. All I could see was the ghostly mask. I couldn't see any of his body. Something didn't seem right with me.
Cool.
But Carlos said trick or treat and opened his bag. I followed suit and tried to stay calm. The man gave us each a couple pieces of candy. Then the man asked us if we wanted more. I said no, but Carlos was quick to step forward for it. My instinct kicked in and I lightly grabbed Carlos by the shoulder, keeping him from going any further. The man inside asked him to come closer, but I told Carlos not to. But I held Carlos close. Suddenly, the man grabbed Carlos by the hand and tried yanking him inside. I quickly ran up and punched the man in the face. I rocked back and fell on the ground.
How? What does he have? Did he eat the reverse fruit? Like, what does he have? You punched him and you fell to the ground.
And laughed at me and told me to get up and run. I was too afraid to take him head on, so I sprinted toward my house to keep him from going after Carlo.
Dude, that is the first time I've seen somebody punch somebody and then fall down on their back.
The man followed me home for several blocks. Taunting
Damn! Followed you home. Nah, he gonna catch you.
From going after Carlos. The man followed me home for
Oh,
several
nah,
blocks.
he a D1 athlete. He took track all through high school, cross country. You're not escaping him. You gotta go box him. And his fist bigger than your body. I know if he hits you one time, you're done.
Taunting me about how slow I was and that he would catch up whenever he wanted.
Oh, he right about how slow you are.
To breathe.
You slow as hell.
My legs felt like they would give out at any minute. I knew I had to stop and defend myself.
Then
But when I
swing.
turned around,
Listing your vacation rentals on Booking.com.
Think I'm running, boy?
Like this bunch.
I know I ain't gonna outrun no D1 athlete. I'm gonna have to knock his ass silly.
Fine company. For the bookings you've dreamed of, list your vacation rentals on Booking.com.
So why does the University of Tulsa attract the most National Merit Scholars per capita? Easy.
nobody was behind me. Nobody was even on the street. All the trick-or-treaters were home. And
Hey,
the man
where's
in the
your
Scream
brother?
costume had just disappeared. But I still didn't feel alone. I couldn't run, so I stumbled home. When I got to my door and reached for my keys, I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Alright,
I
let's
looked behind
box.
me, but there was nothing there. I went inside. Then I called Carlos's parents to ask if he made it home. Thankfully he had, but they scolded me for letting him be alone. When I got off the phone, I heard a knock at the door. A chill ran down my spine. I looked out the eyeglass,
You scared, bro.
but nobody was at the door. My parents were asleep, so I didn't want to scare them. I went around the house and locked all the windows.
Yo, parents were asleep, so you didn't want to scare them. Nah, I ain't gonna hold you. You don't have to be scared, bro. If this is my kid, scare my ass. I don't care, bro.
Windows and doors.
Scare
Checking
me, bro.
outside, I saw the faint ghostly face of the Scream mask out in the backyard and
Well, I'm gonna
across
turn
the
that
street.
boy into a ghost.
But each time I did a double take, the figure was gone. I figured I was just being paranoid. I couldn't sleep, so I stayed up in the living room for a couple hours trying to relax. At one point, I heard a weird rattling coming from the house.
You heard a window breaking. You call that a weird Yo, all these people's critical thinking, situational awareness is absolutely abhorrent. I've come to realize whatever happens to you happens.
Bathroom. So I checked it out. But when I flipped on the light, it stopped. I turned the light back off and waited several minutes to see if it would happen again.
What happens again? What happens again? You turn on the light, it turns off. What are you looking for?
Eventually, I gave up and sat back down. After
Yo, what? What?
it stopped, I turned the light back off and waited several minutes to see if it would happen again. Eventually, I
Hey,
gave
yo.
up and sat back down. After finishing a movie, I was finally sleepy. I shuffled into the half bath before bed. But upon opening the door, I felt frigid air from outside as I realized the window was open. I rushed
no
over to
shit.
slam it shut. But after seeing a Scream mask on the ground, staring at me, I froze. I came to my senses and slammed the window, locking it. Terrified once again, I quietly made my way through the house, making sure I was alone. I saw nothing out of place, so I went to my bedroom, sliding my hand around the wall to look for the light switch. Instead, I felt a hand grab my wrist and pull me to the ground. I was pinned down. I could feel the cold steel of a knife at my throat. A familiar voice told me that if I screamed, he'd make good on his promise to drain the blood from my body. I begged him not to kill me and said I was sorry for hitting him, but he told me it didn't matter because I was already dead. That's when...
So, if you're gonna kill me anyway, I might as well scream. You know what I'm saying?
He took the knife away from my throat and I felt him winding up to stab me. I let out an involuntary scream of pure terror. Then, the knife sliced through the tip of my ear and plunged into the floor. I started sobbing as the man called me a coward, then disappeared.
A coward? What do you want me to do in that situation, bro? You have the one up on me. You can already know that if he can't fight you, bro. He punches you and then he falls on his back. Bro, he a victim in every sense of the word.
I curled up like a child and wailed. When my parents woke up and found me, I was a mess. Ever since that night a year ago, I've been haunted by nightmares of him coming back. But I've also been motivated to get in shape so I could better defend myself next time.
Bro, I suggest you just get a gun, you know. I've never ever seen somebody punch somebody else and then fall back because of the force of which they punched them. I've never seen that before. I suggest you get a gun. I mean, he knows where you live and you know where he lives, so you might as well spin the block. You know what I'm saying?
Police never found anyone living at that house that the man was in.
Oh, wow.
It was supposed to be vacant, but he had broken into it, presumably to have a good place to capture a victim. Luckily, I was at least able to save Carlos.
You did not save Carlos. Carlos saved Carlos.
When I was 16, I went trick-or-treating for the last time. As I was getting older, I wanted to go out to Halloween parties and do more adult stuff, but I had to give my childhood one final hurrah. However, my friends didn't exactly feel that way. They all wanted to go to house parties, so I ended up trick-or-treating by myself. I made sure my phone was fully charged, then I set out on my own. To be honest, it was kind of sad. I was only collecting meager amounts of candy, and the whole time I felt like I was missing out on fun with my friends.
You probably are.
After an hour or two, I had to call it quits. I started to see if there were any functions I could show up to when I got a text from my crush, Brayden. My heart fluttered a bit. We had been texting back and forth sparingly, but I could never tell if he was into me.
Messages.
To my delight, he wanted to know what I was up to. I told him I was trick-or-treating by myself and looking for something more fun. Hi, Brandon.
Are you celebrating Halloween?
In the next message, he invited me over to his house. I was immediately overcome with excitement, but also nervousness too. I didn't know the details, but I wanted to play it cool, so I didn't ask. I figured I'd go with the flow. I never got any vibes from Brayden that he would do something wrong, so I never worried about the worst possible.
Oh, no. Treat all men like they're P. Diddy.
Abilities.
You'll get some of them. You get some of them right.
Address, which was unfortunately a 45-minute walk away.
45-minute walk? I'm going home. Yeah, you can catch me at school tomorrow, champ. I'm not walking 45 minutes to your house. You are a different level of thirsty. You might be P. Diddy. I ain't gonna hold you.
It was very
You might
nice
be the diddler himself.
and I got
45 minutes?
along the way. I was in high spirits when I arrived at the night, and I got to text Brayden along the way.
Along the way, along a 45-minute trip. So you basically gotta walk 1 hour there, 2 hours, because you gotta go back to your home.
I was in high spirits when I arrived at the address.
Beware. I'm seeing cracks on your roof, cracks on your fence, holes. Your roof looked like it got gnawed at, bitten.
The neighborhood wasn't as nice as the one I pictured Brayden living in.
Oh, dog, and you got like a huge bite mark through the fence. I'm leaving. That's nice. Dude, you have a beware sign. I think this shit was before Halloween.
But that didn't matter to me.
Looking at it.
The house looked empty, with no...
Empty? Yeah, that's cool. I'm leaving.
Lights on and no cars in the driveway. There were no decorations either, except for a single sign that said, "Beware," which looked like it could have been taken from the house across the street.
Yo, this is what I'm saying. Like, where's the critical thinking? Where's like where's the neurons? Why are you seeing things and your brain's not telling you things? What's happening up inside this noggin? Nothing?
I texted Braden and told him I was there, also asking why his house wasn't decorated.
Why his house wasn't decorated? Because I'm 20, dog. Why would I buy decorations for my house? What am I, a 5-year-old? I don't decorate my
Didn't
house.
celebrate Halloween, but
Why isn't your house decorated?
they were out of town, so he was celebrating inside.
Celebrating inside. I see. You know, my old white van with no windows. I'm doing a like what is it? Trunk or treat. But you have to go inside the van. All the way inside. All the way. Deep, deep, deep inside.
Encouraged, I walked up to the door and knocked. It was opened by a person in a vampire costume with a hood concealing their face. I asked if they were Braden, and they said, "Yes," quietly.
You have to ask if that was Braden. This is like the level of critical thinking I'm working with right now. You physically, with your own eyes, I'm cannot perceive this person as somebody that you know. That is insane.
Then they said my name and welcomed me inside.
Oh,
It sounded
wow.
like Braden, but he was doing a corny Dracula character and voice that made him sound different. It wasn't a deal breaker to me, though.
Oh, it would have been a big ick for me. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm going home.
So I stepped in.
I would have actually
Once I
probably
closed
threw
the
up.
door, it was totally dark inside. I could barely see Braden standing 5
You know what? At this moment, you have to accept your fate. Whatever happens to you is like natural selection.
feet from me.
If he
I
eats
knew
you,
my eyes would
if
adjust
he lets you
eventually,
live,
but I reached into
I
my
ain't know.
pocket to get my phone and shine a light. Before I could even turn on the screen, Braden rushed over to me and stopped my hand. I felt two separate sensations, attraction and panic.
Whatever happens, happens, bruh. That's all I'm saying. He grabbed you from pinning the flashlight, turning on any lights in this house, and you felt attraction and panic. Are you sick? Are you mentally ill?
As this was the first time Braden and I ever touched each other, but
You know what? Being horny really will get you in these situations, bro. Being thirsty will get you in a desert. Will put you in a absolute desert. That's insane.
I was startled by how sudden it was. Braden said he wanted to keep it dark to maintain the atmosphere that was comfortable for a vampire.
Bullshit, dude. I ain't doing all that, bro.
I laughed and asked him if he was really going that far with the vampire bit, but he replied in character seriously. So I figured he was going all out while his parents weren't home. I went along with it, thinking I was going to see a special side of Braden. He led me to a
Us.
couch I couldn't even see, and we sat down almost on top of each other. My heart was racing with glee.
A special
The
side,
other
huh?
half of my senses were raising alarm bells. The first thing I noticed, besides this weirdness in his voice because of the whole vampire act he was doing, was the way he smelled. Braden
stink?
always wore this delightful cologne I loved, but
Look at where he at, bro. He ain't wearing shit, bro. He ain't wearing shit, bro. You said I don't even know, bro. Let me
scent
eat you,
was
bro.
absent. I started getting suspicious, and when
You got suspicious, huh?
Braden put his hand on my thigh, I brushed it off. I told him I just wanted to chill and not take.
You walked 45 minutes to your crush's house to chill? Are you for real? Are you for real? During that whole 45-minute walk, you might be like, you weren't thinking, this person might have other intentions in mind. He might have other intentions in mind. I don't know.
Take things too far, but he didn't listen.
Of
In
course
the
he
dark,
did.
Still blind, I felt his hand lightly wrap around my chin. Then he reached in and took a deep whiff of my neck.
Excuse me, where is your hot sauce bar?
We don't have one.
Okay. Firehouse Subs has one.
Sir, this is not Firehouse Subs.
I was petrified, telling him to cut it out with the vampire crap. Before I could push him away, he bit my neck. I screamed and jumped away from him, stumbling in the dark and falling to the floor. Braden called out for me, and I knew he was coming to get me. So I pulled out my phone and quickly...
Coming to get you. Coming to get... You guys haven't left 3 feet in front of you. What do you mean coming to get you? He got you. You're done. You know what I'm
flashed his
saying?
eyes with the flashlight. He recoiled at the sudden bright light, giving me the 2 seconds I needed to get on my feet and run out the door.
2 seconds. Oh man, these people are somehow the dumbest people alive and Olympic level athletes. 2 seconds. It wouldn't take me 1 second. You're 3 feet in front of me, bro. You're done.
I ran 20 minutes to my friend's house.
20 minutes run. 20-minute run. Oh, geez, I'm bread.
I cried on the way there because I couldn't stop thinking about what I saw. When I flashed that light at Braden's face for that split second, I saw it wasn't Braden. It was a stranger. When I got...
It was a stranger. Oh, who would have thought? Dude, I would have never thought it was a stranger. When you had to ask who he was, I was just like, bro, isn't it obvious?
To my friend, she helped
It's
me
Braden.
calm down and call the police for me. Of course, by the time the cops got to the house, which turned out to be abandoned, the imposter was long gone. I was very traumatized by the encounter and felt extremely foolish for letting myself get tricked like that. When I felt well enough to go back to
You
school,
shouldn't feel foolish. You should feel downright retarded. Like, actually, you should actually consider going... No, not consider. Go to a hospital so you can get yourself diagnosed. Because you need to be on, like, a certain type of bus, bro. You need to be in a special class.
a few days later, I confronted Braden, thinking he must have been a part of deceiving me.
I can see you're still inflicted with retardism.
However, he told me he had lost his phone at a party that night and still couldn't find it. Somebody had stolen it and found our conversations, then used them to lure me into a trap, where I'm sure biting me like a vampire was only the start of their plans. After what happened, I can't fathom ever getting with Braden, ever going trick-or-treating again, or ever going to someone's house party alone. And of course, everyone should have a password on their phone. It's not just you it could end up protecting.
That's so insane that you blamed everyone else except for yourself. You blamed literally everyone else. You blamed Braden. You blamed the people for not being there with you during trick-or-treating. You blamed a party going on and random shit. You blamed literally everything else except for your stupid ass being stupid. Because it wouldn't take a person about 3 minutes to be like, this is retarded. This is retarded. A house that looks half chewed. And you thought, oh, you have to ask a person, a random person you don't even know, are you this person? And he just says yes.
When I was 12,
I don't know, bro.
I went trick-or-treating.
That seems like a 99% you problem.
It was the first year my parents let me go out for Halloween without at least one of them. Steven and I were collecting lots of candy, as many houses were giving it out that year. So luckily we didn't have to walk very far. We were about 2 blocks from my house and about 6 blocks from Steven's house when we saw our next target. It was a small 1-story house, barely decorated, but the light porch was on. We walked up to it and knocked. The door opened a few seconds later. In front of me was...
I'm gonna say right now, bruh. I know you kids, but please take a second to look at the situation and think.
the middle-aged man with a creepy smile.
Alright.
Steven and I
Time
were
to
immediately
bounce.
hit with a wave of warm, stale air from inside
Warm, stale air. Time to go, bro. I want nothing that comes from your house. You're good.
the house. It smelled like rank sweat and dirty.
Rank. Chat, let me tell you something. There's a tier list to stink, bro. There's ooey. You know what I'm saying? That's a ooey smell. That's like, huh? You gotta take a little second take. That's a strange. It gets strange. Then there's that stinks, you know? That's fragrant. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad or good smell, but it's tough on the nose. You know what I'm saying? Then there's like, oh. Means you need to take a shower. Water hasn't touched your body in weeks, possibly months. You know what I'm saying? And then there's rank. Rank means you are now in the process of making your own ecosystem. Like, there is things building up around you. If you were to touch me, I think my body would shut down. I would die. You know.
Pretty close.
That's rank.
The man wasn't alone in the house. There were 3 other people with him, standing about as far.
Okay. So he got friends. So that's good. So he don't need me.
Far back as they could before going out of view. Each of them were wearing full-body costumes and masks that covered their faces, and they were all staring at me and Steven. We said trick-or-treat after a moment of hesitation. The man brought out a bowl of candy and started.
I do not want anything inside your rank-ass house.
Pick out some to give to us.
No.
But then he stopped. He put the bowl away and said he really liked our costumes, so he was going to give us the good stuff. Then.
No, and that's okay, sir. I'm fine. I'm actually full.
He brought out a second, smaller bowl. Inside, there were only one type of candy. Little squares wrapped in paper, like Starbursts, but they...
Do you not have a fear response? Are you just like the bravest children I know?
Plain white. The guy said that they were homemade caramel chews.
Oh, homemade. Homemade. So you smell all that rank shit coming from his house, and you think, oh man, whatever he's making must be so it must be good quality because of all that rank, because it smells so damn stinky in this house, bro.
And he wanted us to try them. He
smells
took
like
2 from
absolute
the bowl, but instead of dropping them
putrid
into our bags, he insisted we put out our hands.
No. I'm not taking your fentanyl, bruh. I'm leaving.
We thought it was weird, but
You're
we did.
not helping the fentanyl crisis right now.
One piece of candy in our hands. We both reached for our bags, but the man stopped us. He said he wanted us to try them there.
You might as well, bruh. You might as well. At this point, you might as well just walk into his house and just do what he tells you to. Because, I mean, it don't seem like y'all resisting.
We both said we didn't want to, but he insisted. He wanted to have us tell him what we thought.
I don't give a shit what you think. You rank gremlin?
Us, a lot of work had gone into them, and we were.
It looks like a lot of work gone into them. You stink, bro.
Being rude by not eating them. Eventually.
I don't give a shit if I'm being rude. I've been rude all my life. Shit.
The flavor was fine, but the one thing that stood out about it was that it was weirdly salty.
Oh, you thought somebody with this type of demeanor would not have salty, would have some nice tasting, unstrange looking candy.
We both lied and said they were great. That was our mistake. The man then invited us inside the house.
You might as well walk in. That's what I said. You might as well walk in. Who cares? Who cares at this point? Who actually cares? Walk in the house. Say no? Man.
Claiming he wanted to show us how the candy was made. We instantly declined. That's when I noticed that all 3 of the masked people who were watching us before had disappeared. And from behind the house,
no way.
I heard a screen door slam shut. The man continued trying to convince us to go inside, even putting a hand on Steven's shoulder, which Steven quickly brushed off. We were about to turn away and leave, but by then, it was too late.
Supercharge your business with the all-new Shopify Point of Sale, the all-in-one POS.
The 3 masked people from inside the house had come around and were now standing behind us, blocking our exit down the stairs of the porch. They inched forward, forcing us closer to the man as he kept pulling at us. We shouted at them to stop, but they weren't going to. They were forcing us inside. In a panic,
Were they?
I bolted to the side. I felt someone grab my bag of candy, so I dropped it. Then, I jumped over the banister and landed in the bushes. I quickly got to my feet and started sprinting down the street toward my house.
It didn't seem like they were coming after you, bro.
I looked back and saw 2 of the masked people were chasing me. And down the street, Steven was running from the third one in the other direction. I screamed for help, but because the people chasing us were in costumes, everybody on the street thought we were being pranked. I made it back to my house.
Oh, so you live in the town of stupid people land, huh? Killers and stupid people. That's the only people that live in this town.
Shortly after losing the masked people around a corner.
Either around killers or stupid people, bro.
Without any candy and asked what had happened.
That's insane.
I lied and said Steven and I were scared by a group of mean teenagers who forced us to give up our candy. I don't know why I lied. I guess because I was afraid of not being allowed to go trick-or-treating again.
You don't need to, bruh. Your critical thinking skills are god-awful.
Regardless, I stuck with it. Then she asked if Steven made it home.
I have no clue.
I told her I didn't know. So she took me in the car over to Steven's house to make sure he was okay. Luckily, he also made it home unharmed. My mom said she would let me eat all that was left at the house, but I didn't want to. By then, I was feeling very strange. I was extremely tired, like I was getting sick and needed to lay down. After getting back from Steven's house, I went straight to bed and fell asleep immediately. I woke up at about 3
in the morning,
that is. Feeling very groggy and terrible. I didn't know why I had woken up, but then I heard a knock at my window. I looked over and saw the silhouette of a person outside, holding something next to them. I gasped in shock and rubbed my eyes. But when I looked again, the figure was gone. I brushed it off as leftover paranoia from earlier and went back to sleep. The next day, as I was leaving to walk to school, I noticed something on the side of the house, right under my window. I went over to investigate and discovered it was the bag of candy I had lost. What I saw the previous night wasn't a hallucination. Those freaks had followed me home. I wanted nothing to do with it. I picked it up and threw it right in the trash. For the next 6 years, until I moved out, I avoided that man's house like the plague.
NPC ass timing, bruh. You didn't call the police?
I've always tried to not think about whatever twisted
Yo, you might as well walk inside the house, bruh.
Things were going on in there.
Shit. I don't know what kind of twisted things go inside your head.